So episode Prompto recently released as the second DLC expansion for Final Fantasy XV, following the less than stellar episode Gladiolus. So I'm sure you're all asking, is this expansion any different, and is this expansion worth the $5 or a season pass purchase? Well, I got an answer for you. So let's dive right on into this review of Final Fantasy XV, episode Prompto. So to begin, let's lay down the groundwork for this review. I'm going to be tackling these three core subjects: gameplay, story, and audio. So the way the scoring is going to work, I'm going to score each area out of 10, and then I'm going to take them and average the three total scores to provide an overall score for the DLC out of 10. First up is going to be gameplay. So this one is a mixed bag of sorts. The gameplay is very different from the core game, and it provides a nice breakdown to the repetitive gameplay of FF15. The combat is largely focused on third-person ranged, with a small inclusion of melee combat. The heavy focus on ranged combat feels perfect considering the main star of the DLC is Prompto. The DLC does a good job in capturing Prompto's distinctive style of fighting and adds an extra layer of gameplay through the use of stealth mechanics. I like the idea of there only being 5 weapons in the DLC. This makes each weapon feel distinct in application. If you want to fight long range, you would use a sniper. If you want to take on rushing enemies, of course you would use an SMG. If there's a large crowd, maybe use a rocket launcher. Each weapon feels like it's used for a very specific thing, and I love that. My main gripe with the combat is that Prompto rarely staggers from shots. This is the same character who constantly dies in regular combat during the core game, so it's just bizarre to me that he can just Rambo these shots without a care in the world. And then a more minor gripe is the fact that the aiming of the weapons can feel sluggish at times, but overall this doesn't distract from the main experience. Once you're used to the shooting, you kind of adjust. I enjoy how as the DLC progresses and Prompto's inner strength grows, you too become more confident and competent in the combat style, and it reflects in more flashy and more realized combos. Techniques are also included in this DLC from the main game, as well as 2 new features, such as Crackshot and Overkill, which add an extra layer of flair while also adding more depth to the combat. Overall, I would rate the gameplay at a 8 out of 10. Now moving on to the main stage of the DLC, the thing we're all here for, the story. Now I gotta say, Square Enix really brought it on this story. Now, without spoiling too much, I'm just gonna say the story is touching and emotionally rewarding. The story is far more realized than episode Gladiolus, and the reasons for Prompto's actions feel like they make more sense. This is quite an emotionally deep and touching story of self-discovery and belonging. Seeing the juxtaposition of the normally cheery and upbeat Prompto thrown into the situation is wonderfully powerful, and the symbolism presented in the 2-hour story is top-notch. The idea that this all takes place in a snowy, barren land further adds to the thematic of the DLC. Once the story hits the rising action, you can see character development that this game has been longing for, and it's done very subtly as well. The DLC turns from being linear to opening up, while even offering side quests, and at this point the combat also hits a climax and opens up to more experimentation, which is an interesting way to thematically represent Prompto gaining inner strength. The story was incredibly strong in the DLC, and I dare even say it was better than the main game. I'm going to rate the story as a 10 out of 10. And finally, we're on to audio. Now this part won't be nearly as long as the rest of the video, but I felt it normally is an untouched part of many reviews, so I felt like I just had to analyze it. Starting off with sound effects, many of the sounds are reused from the core game, so there's not very many complaints to be had here. The bullets echo through the bases you fight in, the harsh winter air whistles and crackles, so honestly, not too bad. The music in this DLC, however, is wonderful. My hat is off to guest composer Naoshi Miyazata and Hoshitaka Suzuki. The main theme, Home Sweet Home, is absolutely gorgeous, and it matches thematically with the DLC in so many ways. Many of the songs in this DLC convey that sense of longing and desperation that just match perfectly with the scenes that are going on. I appreciate that the battle theme is also different in this DLC than it is from the core game. It goes to show that Prompto is an individual, he's not just part of the group, he is his own self, and it also adds an extra flair to Prompto's personality, which I adore. The only piece of music I did not absolutely love was more akin to like a dubstep robotic sounding piece. The thing I do like about it, and I can understand why it was implemented, it matches the story really well, and it fits the backstory of Prompto as well. It kind of reflects how Prompto is coming to terms with who he is and accepts who he is now. So it makes sense that there would be more of like a robotic techno type of music playing. So because of this, I'm going to knock down 1 point, and I'm going to give music a 9 out of 10. So with scores of 8, 10, and 9, that's going to lead to a overall score of, drumroll please, a 9 out of 10. Episode Prompto was a joy to play, and there's more additional content and side quests included so you get your fill. I would say that it's definitely worth the $5. Putting in $5, you get an amazing story, and you get a lot of side quests, additional content, and 2 extra goodies you can bring to the main story. I would also say it's definitely worth buying the season pass. If episode Ignis is going to be as good as this, definitely buy it. If you haven't tried out episode Gladiolus, while it's less good, the season pass will let you get that too. You'll also get the Comrades DLC, which I don't honestly know how I feel about that, but if you're already buying the season pass, it's good to have it included. And there are talks that there's going to be an Arden DLC as well, so that's going to be pretty awesome. So if you played episode Prompto, let me know what you thought about it down below. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out.